Socialism is a populist economic and political system based on collective, common, or public ownership of the means of production. Every product that people produce has certain social component, and everyone who contributes to its creation has a claim to a share of it. Socialists argue that ownership of shared resources and centralized planning create a fair society. Socialism is opposed to capitalism, which is founded on private ownership of the means of production. As a result of unjust and exploitative power and wealth concentration, capitalism is to blame for inequality, according to socialists. Karl Marx and Frederick Engels make this point in the Communist Party Manifesto in 1848. Socialism arose a viable alternative to capitalism that might improve conditions for the working class. The excesses and fall of liberal individualism and capitalism lead to the development of modern socialism. Robert Owen and Henry D. Simon were two of the most well-known early socialists.
Background of Prabowo Subianto. The military man and businessman, which is General Purnawirawan Prabowo Subianto, making his way onto the national political stage. He was born in Jakarta in 17th October 1951. He has two older sisters and one younger sister. Prabowo spent the most of his childhood in Indonesia and other countries. He attended Hong Kong and Victoria Institution in Malaysia, and also Zurich International School in Switzerland, and also American School in Michigan. He also fluent in 4 European languages, which is English, French, German, and Dutch. But unfortunately, his father discouraged him from pursuing higher education at this time because he was too young. Prabowo returned to Indonesia and ended his time as a student at the National Military Academy as a ground military cadet in Magelang in 1974. Both the Army Strategic Reserve Command and the Special Force Command, Kopassus, benefited from his military experience. Prabowo's leadership style may be traced back to his background and experience, which have shaped him to be both educated and nationalistic. Prabowo is a respected figure in Indonesia because he is bright, honest, courageous, steadfast, patriotic, and concerned about the country.
Now, let's see to the policies of Prabowo. When he won in the 2019 president election, he said that he want to focus 5 nation work program in Indonesia. The second one is the foreign policy of Indonesia between the superpowers. As a Indonesia Defence Minister, the 5 nation work program that he want to focus is the first one, that he want to build a fair, peaceful and focused economy without entering the Indonesians. In his speech, he said that people's purchasing power will rise as a result of our efforts, that if our people have enough money, the entire economy will turn around. The second one, Prabowo wants to focus on increasing the quality of life and the welfare in Indonesia. All of this will be proven by killing the purest and increasing the quality from the healthiness and education aspect. Another thing that he wants to focus on is to create Indonesia as a safe and comfortable place among the Indonesian, because the nation of Indonesia Republic was the key to build any development, progress and prosperity. In the foreign policy, Prabowo recently shared his opinions on Indonesia regional and international foreign policy priorities, emphasizing strategic defense as its main focus. Prabowo states that Indo-Pacific region is currently experiencing higher geopolitical tensions and that the current dynamics are in many respects unprecedented. He said that China is a rising global force and that Indonesia is a country that respects all powers, including the United States as a leading one. Therefore, he stated that the conflict between Beijing and Washington is not a zero-sum game and that Indonesia will continue to seek a better engagement with both. As a result, he concentrated on Indonesia strategic defense and restate his devotion to the country's resolve to forego military expansion.
Let's move to the next part, which is controversies by Prabowo Subianto. We divided it into three, which is the first one is fall of Suharto, the second one is the loss of elections, and the last one is Jokowi as his rival. Okay, for the fall of Suharto, Prabowo Subianto was appointed as the head of the Army Strategic Reserve Command, Kostrad, on March 20, 1998 during the rule of his father-in-law Suharto. On the first day of the May 1998 riots, less than 3 months after being named the head of Kostrad, Prabowo pleaded with Wiranto, the chief of Indonesian National Armed Force, to permit him to send him strategic reserve unit from outside of Jakarta into the city to aid in re-establishing order. Indonesians have been openly urged by Prabowo to stand with him in the fight against the traitors of the nation. As a result, Prabowo was accused of using his contacts from his former command to import and create problems. In the month leading up to the May 1998 riots, the military led by Prabowo kidnapped and tortured at least 9 pro-democracy activists. Physical and mental torture and electric shocks are part of the abuse. Prabowo is also suspected of planning the kidnapping of 30 other activists between February 1997 and May 1998. All of these individuals are still listed as missing. Prabowo has been placed on the US blacklist and is not allowed to enter the US due to his involvement in gross human rights crimes. We will move on to the part of the loss of elections. Okay, in 2004, Prabowo went back to Indonesia to run for the chairperson of Parti Kumpulan Fungsional Golkar, but he was unsuccessful. After failing to maintain control of the party as started by his former father-in-law, Prabowo and his allies launched the Gerindra Party in 2008 and decided to run for president. Despite Megawati's defeat, Prabowo did not give up and ran again in the next election. When Indonesia was influenced by Middle East, the influence of Islam was growing there. Prabowo, who aspired to become president, began to work with moderate and radical Islamists and used identity politics to deal with his rivals. Prabowo and Hatta Rajasa ran against Jokowi Widodo and Yusuf Kalla in the 2014 presidential election. Prabowo did not give up. He continues to work towards the 2019 elections, hoping to win through identity politics. Although Prabowo teamed up with a young tycoon named Sandiaga Uno to run for the presidency, Jokowi also identity politics this time, joining forces with conservative Nahdlatul Ulama leader Ma'ruf Amin. Last but not least, we will move to Jokowi as his rival. The fact that Prabowo has registered his party for the 2024 national elections is a clear indication that he intends to make a third attempt at the presidency. He twice lost to Jokowi, but after that, he became the defense minister in Jokowi's Big Ten government. Jokowi easily defected Prabowo, but if Jokowi withdraws from the campaign in 2024, Prabowo may have a better chance of winning than in the previous 2 elections. Prabowo joined Jokowi's cabinet against the conservative and radical Islamic opposition. Even the US, which has barred Prabowo from entering, extended an invitation to him to go to China, rejecting the allegations of gross human rights violations. It is feared that Jakarta may strategically align itself more closely with China as it becomes more economically dependent of Beijing. Indonesia is considered an important node in the US Indo-Pacific strategy because of its importance in the Indo-Pacific region. Therefore, Washington has a motive for pulling Jakarta and Prabowo from Beijing.
Prabowo Subianto is an Indonesian leader who is represented by many. When he held a position in the government, he made many significant changes in military field. And throughout his position as the Minister of Defense of Indonesia, he was called the best minister. The assessment was made by the President himself, Joko Widodo, in the first year of his reign. This statement is based on a survey conducted by Indonesian Survey Stream. This survey showed that 47.3% of Indonesians are satisfied with the performance of the Minister of Defense, namely Prabowo Subianto. As Minister of Defense, Prabowo attached great importance to transparency in administration, so he is able to manage finance carefully. This is proven in the audit report issued by the Indonesian Ministry of Finance. The financial report of the Indonesian military for 2021, which is presented, show the amount of expenditure that is controlled and clean. In addition, Prabowo Subianto continued his excellence when he developed military relations with regional countries. These visits are done to further strengthen military cooperation with regional countries and the major power. On October 27, 2021, Prabowo visited Malaysia for 1 day. Prabowo met with the Malaysian Defence Minister at the time, Hishamuddin Tun Hussein. This meeting was held to further strengthen the military cooperation between Malaysia and Indonesia. The two leaders of this country meet each other to discuss several issues to strengthen the defense diplomacy relation between Malaysia and Indonesia. Prabowo carried out his duties aggressively just after he was appointed on October 23, 2019. He made many visits to the countries such as Malaysia, Thailand, Turkey, Philippines, Japan, and France. Prabowo is a wise person in his decision. He held a meeting with the Minister of Defense of Philippines in 2009 to discuss peace cooperation, especially in Suluwata. This meeting was held at the Velemo Base Manila, and in this discussion, Prabowo also fought for the Philippine government for successfully helping to free two Indonesians who had been held hostage by Abu Sayyaf terrorist group. Based on all the achievement, Prabowo has been called the right person in the right place. His achievement in the military field is established the Indonesian National Army Reserve Force, Komsat. In addition, he has also succeeded in establishing a field hospital in the province of Papua for 20 days to contain the spread of the COVID-19 epidemic. In addition, Prabowo has also contributed during COVID-19 when he opened the field hospital using military facilities in Johor Bahru. For his military facilities and assets, he had great help. His military obtained a license to manufacture arrowhead warship manufactured by the British company Babcock International. The ship is equipped with missiles that can work off the surface of the sea and in the air. Prabowo is a Minister of Defense who is very big-hearted in developing the military strength of Indonesia in various aspects, such as aspects of international relations, updating the ministry, financial expansion transparency, streamlining military technology, and many more.
Prabowo has launched his own political party, Gerindra, with the support of his wealthy businessman brother Hashim. His rhetoric brings to mind Suharto Pancasila democracy, which embraced election as a source of legitimacy but reduced them to a predictable ritual. Prabowo was elected in 2014 to lead the Gerindra party as leader and chairman of its advisory board. He tried to win the president election for the second time in 2014 and 2019. However, he was unsuccessful and he became the 26th Minister of Defense on 23 October 2019.